Tinetti.
Yeah, I too want to talk to the commencement part of this particular part that we are debating at the moment. I have an amendment in front of me in the name of my colleague Camilla Ballach. She's been very busy, Madam Chair, and as you can hear from her history that she has given of the pay equity journey, has an absolute knowledge that's probably second to maybe those people that fought in 1972. But apart from that, we're very honoured to have Camilla as part of our team here with the knowledge that she brings, because I think it is really important that we bring that history here. Now, Madam Chair, the reason I wanted to talk about the commencement is, like my colleague Megan Wood, it's around the fact that it's concerning that the Act comes into force on the day after Royal Assent. Yesterday, when we were out the front with this rally that was called within an hour and a half and had quite a large number of people turn up to it on very, very short notice, we were gifted the opportunity to hear from people who have been part of the pay equity claims process. And listening to them was quite enlightening about how robust the process has been, but how successful the process has been as well, because of the ownership that members have had with that process. So it's not a once over lightly. It is a process that takes many, many years and many iterations to go through. And that gave me confidence yesterday, Madam Chair, when I listened to those people about how incredibly robust that process was, that we had something that was incredibly successful, and as a result we have seen many claims that have been successful since the last amendments were put through in legislation. Now, what I would like to argue here, Madam Chair, is that if we're talking about here in this House today, the Act coming into force on the day after Royal Assent, that all of that work means absolutely nothing. So all of the work that those people talked about, and I said in my first reading speech yesterday, I mentioned a woman who stood on those steps called Tessa, who has been working as part of a librarian team with their pay equity claim for 4 years. 4 years of work that, if this goes through the House today, will mean absolutely nothing. And what that means is that once again, women are having to go back to ground zero. All the gains that they have made, they're actually going backwards, because we are getting rid of something, well, not we, but the government is getting rid of something that has been working incredibly well. And I sort of heard a little bit of a heckle coming through there, Madam Chair, saying, well, maybe it shouldn't have been put in place in the first place. Wow. I suggest that those members who are calling that out go and read the history and understand what has happened since 2020, and also understand the process. Because if they're going to be short-sighted enough to call out heckles like that, it is obvious that they have no understanding of what they are talking about. Now, Madam Chair, my colleague Camilla Ballach has proposed here that in Clause 2 we would replace on the day with 5 years. Now, the reason that I want to talk to this is that I believe 5 years will see those claims get through. You know, when you hear that Tessa and her group of librarians have been working for 4 years, they're probably at the tail end of their claim process. But there are some in that 33 who are right at the beginning. So if they are right near the beginning, then that means we'd give them 5 years to get their claim all the way through. And I think that that is actually a very, very fair metric. It also means that we would not lose all of that work that has been done to the state. It means that they would still have ownership of the process. And it is incredibly important for this to be successful going forward, that people have ownership in that process.
Dr. Lawrence Junan.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I have a question. Yeah, see if anyone can answer it. But so if a claim takes on average 3 to 5 years to complete, and there is a 3-year stand down, does that mean that a woman who's already put forward the claim, right, they already have to wait between 6 to 10 years before putting forward a new claim? Because it's like they're going through the process, right? And then then you add on the 3-year stand down. So isn't that already fair enough?
Well, also, what happens in the situation of, say, where you've got a situation where you're about to sign off, like librarians?
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you increase that to 10 years, like, you know, for the stand down period, like what this piece of legislation is proposing, right?
Yeah.
Then you add on 5 years, or, you know, you're looking at 13 to 15 years before that same person can put forward a new claim.
Yeah, it's like trying to become a doctor. You know, we get qualified trained doctors quicker than that.
And why should they have to actually bring a claim? Surely once a claim has been won, the business or the government or whoever department it is should have to go into a monitoring period until they get their equity up to an even level. I don't understand why people would have to bring repeated claims against people that are constantly doing the same thing.
Well, hey, look.
Penalty.
hey, I mean, reading through the bill, Brooke said, hey, one of the purposes of this amendment is to make it more sustainable. You've just presented a more sustainable option than whatever the fuck Brooke is proposing.
Yeah, it's like, why drag it out? Like, the saying goes, justice delayed is justice denied.
Well, all the time you're putting the onus onto workers to have to prove a case, bring a case, do all this stuff, and not the onus onto the government to ensure that the laws that they have in place are actually being followed. There is no justification for the work being paid differently.
The bar for working women is higher than whatever the fuck bar Brooke van Veldon has to jump over, because she's presented next to no evidence about how this amendment is going to impact workers. There's no regulatory impact statement. She didn't receive advice from any of the other departments, like the Ministry for Women or anything like that.
Yeah,
none of that.
But we don't hear about who the lobbyists are that you heard from.
Hey, look, if Brooke wants to take a pay cut, I'm more than happy to support her in taking a pay cut. But I know other women that don't want to take a pay cut.
Well, I think that we should, as part of my participatory budget, I think we should halve the wages of all politicians.
Yeah, I'm behind that. Yep.
Yeah. It won't save much, but it will send a good message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, the Order Paper Podcast. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.